Welcome back to another video. Last time we covered up to the 5 Kage Summit. This time we're going to be moving on and we're going to try and scale all the way up to Sasuke versus Danzo and a little bit beyond that, but that's going to be the point where I'm going to be trying to stop today. So from here, we're going to be trying to jump into some Kisame scaling because that's what's coming up right after the 5 Kage Summit. The boy shows to have chakra reserves to that of a Bijou. So he's got a lot of chakra. Cool. Now, something to make very clear though, I've always talked about how stupid it is to think that chakra amount is equal to like your AP or even your total joules amount. Okay, and that's because it is. There's nothing that suggests even close that there's a 1-to-1 ratio. You'll probably have heard me say there's a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, if you hear in my past videos, the thing that really comes down to how strong a jutsu is or attack is in general is going to be how well you actually utilize the chakra. Such as, say, Rasengan. It's not just enough to have, I have enough chakra to make Rasengan, therefore it's Rasengan level power. No, it's being able to utilize the chakra in such a way that it's spinning with enough force, right? All the way to the point of like Rasen Shuriken and such, where it's your ability, how good you are at molding and utilizing that chakra. And then it's also chakra control on top of not just how it's utilized and how good you are, but how good you are at maintaining it, which can overlap here and there. But there's certain cases where how good you are at maintaining it isn't necessarily how good you are at controlling it, such as like, again, the movement. So Chidori, for example, is you don't need to sit there and control it so much. You don't need to spin it around like Rasengan style or anything to get it more built up, revved up for speed and power and whatnot. But you just need to be able to maintain the chakra, within your hand. Cool. Now you got Chidori. But all of those do require chakra amounts. And so one thing to be very clear on is that the amount of chakra you can put into a jutsu does affect the amount of power you can get out of it. But it is not simply the more chakra you have, the more AP you have, or even for an individual attack. So, all to say, Kisame has the reserves of a Bijou. That really just means he has a lot of chakra, but none of his attacks are using like 100% of his chakra. He's not doing firing off a hyper beam Pokemon style and now he needs to recharge because he used all his chakra. He's using portions of his reserves, and with his chakra control and the way he can actually mold it and whatnot, he's getting out his jutsus that have their own different amounts of AP. None of them are a 1-to-1 ratio. No attacks in the series are even close to a 1-to-1 ratio of amount of chakra to AP. So going on from there, we need to ask ourselves, how strong is he? And is it better than what we've seen so far? Please be better than what we've seen so far. First feat out the gate, a lightning enhanced pencil is dodged, and Kisame backs up his needing to dodge, saying he would have been punched straight through by it, which is backed by him actually needing to dodge, aka him dodging. There's no, that if you want to play the statement game, we have the feat of him dodging it. If it would have done nothing to him, he wouldn't have needed to dodge it. But don't worry, there's more, we'll go more. Alright, so, okay, dang. This pencil at least must be packing some serious force then. I mean, it's a pencil, but it's enhanced. No, wait. It goes through a single tree and then is stopped cold by basic ground. I'm seeing that, right? You guys are seeing the same thing? One tree and then it's just stopped by the ground. What? I swear Baki is unironically starting to outdo Naruto in durability. Why is it stuck in the normal ground? Next is the same, but it's the sword now, and we see it's actually blocked. Okay, hey, I'm wrong. Cool. This feat outdoes it. Oh wait, but only because the supersonic, and not hypersonic description of vibration was lower due to the chakra being sucked out. Wait, so he couldn't tank it after all. He needed to do an ability-based thing to stop the power because the power itself was too high. Maybe it was far higher than the, pencil. But we don't see it. We don't know. So next we get B's near full power as he hits Kisame with his lariat, knocking him into a tree and busting Kisame and his sword Samehada up pretty badly. Cool. Luckily for Kisame, Samehada took nearly the full brunt of the attack, wrapping all in front of him, and it could heal him. So there you go. I mean, it's stronger than like his old move, you know, so that's what we need to find out. How strong was the lariat? So again, very, very little destruction, but we at least have direct scaling for this feat to be, you know, a lot stronger than his old feat. That's about what we can say. But it's an unknown amount stronger. But we can make some guesses. We have an idea of Naruto's power increases with each tail, and though 50% Kurama is far more powerful than 8 tails, we could at least give B some slack and say this lariat should scale to around, perhaps, higher end building level AP. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going a full magnitude increase like in power here. But honestly, personally, for me, hold off until I can confirm it more. So for now, it's an unknown amount stronger than his last feat. Anyway, Kisame does finally go full power, infuses with Samehada, while also pulling out his water prison. And I just want to highlight its size. In these scans, it looks like it'd be as large, if not even larger, than a mountain or so. However, it's always far away from everything else, like the mountains that we're trying to compare to. It's not the best angle, it's not giving us the most direct, you know, visual representation of its size compared to a mountain. It's very much so in the forefront of the panel. The panels also show that the treetops at least rival its height, though also at forefront angles. So what's up here? So then we get to the single best panel for its size that shows the entirety of it. And it also happens to show how small it is compared to an actual mountain. And it's backed up with another scan. That said, the trees clearly show to be extremely large for trees, but very large trees at this scale are nothing to the actual height of a mountain. The point in finding the size is that we know that B is in the center when confronted by Kisame. So when he escaped with his friends before Kisame could free himself, that gives us an idea for speed. At the seemingly larger size I initially thought it was, we could have ended up with something near Mach 10. But once we have a shot showing the full scope of it, it's more and more, it's really showing a seemingly top cap for speed at, once again, Mach 6 for the series again. So yeah, even this feat for B is another backing of Mach 6. So, still nothing crazy. But let's just move on to confirmation that the pencil would indeed have gone through Kisame. Alright, man, this is rough, okay? So, A and B double area his head off. Let's just go on to that. We get a wow lightning speed statement, and the real killer to them blitzing him is that we actually know it isn't even him anymore. All of this at this point was actually Zetsu, who swapped bodies with Kisame all the way back at the water prison jutsu, and Kisame is actually still with Samehada for stealth mission. This isn't to say Zetsu is weak. He can stealth better than anyone, and actually has some serious scaling himself. However, this is to say, killing Zetsu here isn't a feat of having actually blitzed or overpowered anyone in a real fight. This is just Zetsu deception, and he did it. So, cool, they didn't actually blitz Kisame is what I'm saying. Well, next up we'll view Sasuke versus Danzo. Give me the feats. Danzo, starting off, he's really strong, he's very intelligent, he just runs in and punches, and Sasuke uses Susanoo to block and snatch him for such a dumb opening. What are you doing? But feat-wise, we're seeing him currently in stage 2 of his Susanoo, and that's important, cause, wait, did he just use an extra life just to now try and stab through with a kunai? What the hell? Okay, like, Danzo was scripted to lose this. Boy could have done so much better. Oh my gosh, anyway. Okay, so we get to a Susanoo smash, and it does a little nothing crater, which Danzo considers respectable attack power? Jeez. Next. His Susanoo does another less than high-end building AP feat, followed by Amaterasu. For once it, I guess, kills? We don't know really, because we just see Danzo use Izanagi to reverse it, most likely before death considering all prior feats, so still hasn't really done anything. We don't get to see how long it would have taken to kill or anything. He just reverses it. Because punching and trying to stab with a kunai, why not, try and get your life's worth? Just do it immediately, Danzo. So, next, he shoots. Danzo's shooting definitely lower than Sakura punch attacks at Sasuke with this, which are injuring him. And finally, we see Sasuke can bisect Danzo's body with his sword, only for him to still be alive again, because Izanagi. Alright, I need an actual feat here. Next, Sasuke shows he can put him in a genjutsu, only for Danzo to easily escape it. We get Danzo saying Itachi's Tsukiyomi was still far above Sasuke's. I will say, however, we once again get to see the absolute mega speed at which Susanoo activates. Look how close that sword was. Very fast activation. Okay, cool. So, we're definitely able to contrast the speed of Itachi that he showed with Kirin to, Sasuke here with his Susanoo. Again, it's a good feat for, how fast it actually activates. That said, additionally, we get to see that the seal that was placed on Sasuke was outright broken out of by pure will and power while going into stage 3 Susanoo. This is why I'm saying, honestly, hey, when Karin was comparing, his chakra being darker, and, we see that she's talking about in terms of him getting more powerful and things, and he's becoming more evil, that she was comparing it even, to his curse mark. That's why I think using his, just when he had ribs, I think it is actually fair to say that Sasuke at that point was on par with his Curse Mark 2 self, okay? So that's why I ultimately am going with the Mach 6 consistency baseline speed here, because otherwise it would just be slower. But regardless, now we have, again, stage 3 Susanoo. Next, he's following all this up with a Susanoo arrow now, getting stuck in Danzo's tree and not even destroying nearly anything beyond it. What? Worse? The next Susanoo arrow only needs to make it through Danzo's body at worst. And yet, what is that lack of destruction? That did nothing. Nothing. I'm talking on some Kidomaru type weak. And worse again, it's shown to be consistent. It's consistently this weak. Next, this Baku summon has suction that simultaneously doesn't annihilate the area around it, but is too strong for Susanoo to move in. And so, now we have Danzo's able to go up and actually attack him, able to, open up a gap, and doing so, actually, this attack here, when he does the empowered Futon Shinku Rinpa, that's showing finally an actual good feat, because this would necessitate at least around city block level AP to get through this stage of Susanoo at minimum. So there is at least that. Now, you might think, where am I getting this upgrade in levels of durability? Now, to be fair, I am playing it this is why I talk about minimums, low balls. We do, at least with the future that I know with Susanoo, do see that the levels of Susanoo are pretty exponential in their durability, and not just base multipliers. I will say that much. So when he goes from little baby Liger Bomb crater is starting to break off the base of his ribs, all the way up to now stage 3, well, holy crap, now we're talking about quite a bit higher levels. So even the city block level could be a low ball, but that's why I'm saying it's a minimum. That's where I'm getting it from. I can go back ultimately and contrast this later once I've finished all the feats, but for now, this is where Danzo is getting to. So finally, we have Sasuke and Danzo clash, where we actually get to see his fighting IQ such that with his genjutsu, he was able to at least trick Danzo, who's honestly just shown to be dumb anyways, but trick him into thinking he had one extra use of Izanagi, even if he couldn't just shut him down as a fighter, like with genjutsu, just shut him down. One thing to note here is that Danzo couldn't use Shisui's eye this entire fight, but that's just for inverse scaling. It just means Danzo would still outscale Sasuke at this point, if full power, like he had all of everything. Lastly, Danzo goes boom, and there's really not much to calc. This is still not extreme DC. And being the destruction was brought about via only being the size it was, the AP doesn't suggest anything specific. Killing Sasuke with it doesn't even mean much. Again, you caught his body maybe. If we could prove that it would have also wiped out the whole Susanoo, that could be potentially impressive. But no, we don't have it. It would have sucked Sasuke in? Okay. To recap, provably, the only thing we really saw was city block level AP at the highest showing of feats and downright wall level AP from some Susanoo arrows. The feats, though, can't keep being this bad, though, right? Well, next we have this. Yep. Not only did they not detect Sakura's sleep bombs, but legit couldn't outpace the explosion by this point either. Anyway, next we can see that Sasuke shows Sakura's reactions cannot keep up with Mach 6. And Kakashi has to save her. I mean, Sakura is also, generally, she's not moving Mach 6. And those explosions of the things haven't shown anything to suggest Mach 6. Why were they caught? Anyways. At least Lee, right? So yeah, Kakashi has to save her. However, we do get to see that Sasuke's Susanoo arrows are too fast for Kakashi to dodge, but not react to. Kakashi himself, however, hasn't shown movement speed-wise to be on par with the Mach 6 scaling yet. And as such, would expect Amaterasu to be just as impossible for him to dodge at this point, meaning the arrow is only showing around once more Mach 6. Now it could be a lot higher, but we don't know. It being too fast for Kakashi isn't showing anything above like the Mach 6 that would also generally be too fast for Kakashi. At least, again, until we get better feats for it. We do get to see the beginning of his stage 4 Susanoo, however, and this is big, because again, this really is highlighting the idea that he's matched up or had already matched up to his Curse Mark II, and this really solidifies the Mach 6 baseline of back then. Now he's been powering up, powering up, powering up. Very important that this is what happened. That Karin specifically pointed out he was getting more powerful, and from when he was in base at that point, all the way up to now, from, the Itachi fight. Very important. Otherwise, I'm not sure I could actually hold to the Mach 6 even going, into current feats. The whole verse would collapse into being slow, extra slow all over again. But next we have another terrible feat. Naruto saves Sakura. We can see his cheek was barely cut by the kunai, which results in this. Now, of course we don't know the potency of the poison. Maybe its poison is enough to take out Galactus. The whole thing, though, is that you need feats to actually suggest these levels of things being made. And the best we've seen for Naruto with poison so far is the very, very beginning with something that also didn't suggest high levels of poison. Okay? Straight up base, very beginning Naruto is what took on poison, I believe. So at this point, we don't have anything impressive showing. So this whole reaction, this whole thing here with Naruto and the way he reacted to the poison looks weak, okay? There's nothing even to say that this poison is better than what Sasori could have made, okay? And he's not making poisons that I think that have any feats or scaling to suggest that it would take on, high tiers of the verse. There's nothing to suggest. Here's the ultimate thing. There's nothing to suggest in the verse that there's poisons capable of taking out people on weight classes of power above themselves. Do I think that Sasori could land his poison on Madara and just Madara dies? No, I don't believe that at all. Now, it could be the case, but nothing shows it. So when Naruto here is getting bodied by this poison, it gives me that, and Kaguya was going to kill them by dumping them into basic lava vibe, right? It's just bad, alright? It's definitely not good. Maybe we'll see later, and there's a poison feat I'm not remembering, but for now, it's certainly not good. Look at the boy. So that said, when looking at Sasuke and Naruto clash after having grown this much, after all this time, remember the beginning, the first clash? After all this time, we're shown something far, far weaker than even their initial clash that I was just talking about towards the beginning. Gosh dang, it's really lackluster and doesn't even give something to calc. Literally just a tiny little baby water explosion. Hopefully we get far more when he gets Itachi's eyes, because this ain't it. Scaling wise at least, we know that now we have Naruto saying he can't defeat Sasuke at his current level, because the boy just shot up like 4 levels of Susanoo, which honestly just makes sense. And once he has Itachi's eyes, that'll be even more power, and I guess we'll have to see what feats he can actually show once that actually presents itself. Now, to be fair though, the issue with the statement of Naruto saying he can't beat Sasuke is that the same could be said for Naruto to Pain, and that he only won due to the Nine Tails influence. Nine Tails influence that should still outright decimate Sasuke at this point, okay? And I don't even mean like 8 Tails Naruto. 6 Tails would do it, alright? At least as far as feats and scaling. Neither Naruto without Biju help or Sasuke are even close to Pain levels of power output. And this is important in 2 ways. One, Naruto saying he wouldn't beat Sasuke at this point. Nothing is suggesting that Naruto, again, he would be talking about like base no Nine Tails influence can't beat Sasuke right now. Because feat-wise, again, no way. Sasuke gets annihilated. But secondly, is that when we're looking at the inverse power scaling, neither are close. Again, I'll say neither are close to Pain levels of power output. Save for Nine Tails influence Naruto. So after all this, we finally get to Kabuto. The boy shows off in front of Obito. They join forces. Cool. Then we get some more feats. And note that I'm just, again, going chronologically in order. That's why all of this is the way it is. I'm really not trying to just show bad feats. All of this really is right just in the order of the series. So, here we are, next in order. We have the full 8 Tails struggling with the chains of non-Hokage, non-Akatsuki tier, just Jonin-based level people. You can see that A and the Raikage at the time were not holding him down. And, look, there can be Jonin, like, in case you're going to say, like, oh, just Jonin-based level people, how do you know how strong a Jonin is? Because, yeah, there's not, like, classifications. Naruto wasn't a Jonin, until, like, an adult. The thing is, though, these people were specifically not at the level of A, right? Even just A right there, back then. We know as much that to that degree, okay? So we have an idea of their level of power. How are these people bodying the 8 Tails? Or at least, like, making him struggle in terms of strength? No. It's bad. It's just another bad feat. And so, absolutely finally, for scaling up to Chapter 500, we have Naruto, where he has a battle of will and not an actual battle with the Nine Tails. Just, you can look through all the scans here. There's a lot. But yeah, it's a whole battle of will, alright? It's not something that's applicable to saying that it's Naruto's power outside of, like, his internal self, alright? I know people want to try and claim it that way. It doesn't make sense. There's nothing that suggests it at all. This is just his internal fight with, like, the Nine Tails. I will say, however, we do at least get to see it unlocks KCM 1, and that will finally give us a new mode that we can look forward to scaling in the future. So look for that. I hope you guys don't, hate the video this time. I'm not trying, ultimately, I'm truly not trying to hate on Naruto. The actual, like, fan base that I've seen really have some of the worst logic I've ever seen. Terrible understanding of actual scaling. And the wank due to that gets so astronomical that that's what's really pushed me in order to really go feat by feat, all the scaling, and really look at the series, to try and make it, again, triple AP scaling as accurate as possible, right? So, sorry if this is just highlighting more of the bad, but that's what the 100 chapters had to offer. Just bad after bad. So, ultimately, I'm sorry if you liked the series, but I still hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, subscribe. The channel is going to be coming back, and I can't wait to be covering a lot more, because I have a lot more series to be covering, and I'll be covering far more than Naruto. I'm ready to move on past Naruto. I will be touching Boruto, yes, I've already committed, but Naruto is not going to be the only focus at all. Don't worry. Ciao.